Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Here.
Commissioner Moya,
Here.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Here.
Commissioner Arias,
Here.
Mayor Litchfield.
Here. Are there any considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am, no changes.
Okay. Next on the agenda is public comments. Citizens wanting to speak during this time.
Madam Mayor, I apologize, we need to approve the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right, so I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Moya,
Here.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, public comments. Citizens wanting to speak during this time must sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Public comments is an opportunity for citizens to comment on non-agenda items. This is not for discussion nor questions and answers. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak. And if you are on your computer or your tablet, you'll join from that. And I believe we have a list. I don't have a list up here of public comments. I know Mr. Pacheco is one of them, I believe.
Yes, we have Mr. Pacheco, Mr. Romero.
Yes. All right, so first on the agenda would be Mr. Gilbert Pacheco. Is he still with us?
Mr. Pacheco, are you still online, sir?
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can, loud and clear.
Okay, it's your turn.
Hello?
You got your timer.
Hello?
Mr. Pacheco, go ahead,
Can you hear
sir.
me?
Yes, sir, you have 3 minutes, go ahead.
Okay, Commissioners, my name is Ronald Pacheco. I'm here this evening on that pontoon boat again. I know it's been a pain in the butt for the last 4 years, Commissioners, especially between me and the mayor. But what I'm asking now, Commissioners, it's parked behind us. You know where it's parked, and you know what it looks like back there. If you've been by there, I know a couple commissioners have been back there. Mayor, I would request that you would go there and look at that property. And that pontoon boat, we already know nothing's going to be done about it, because you see, attorney himself said it's only a waste of time and a waste of money. Our money, our time. You see, your chief of police stood here at the last meeting and said to you people that that was not his job. And not one of you commissioners responded except one, and that was Commissioner Moya. He said, that is his job, isn't it? And nobody answered. One day me and the city manager, Mark Martinez, when he was acting city manager, we were on North Dawson Street, the 500 block on North Dawson Street, and Whitmore, and we're looking at that pontoon boat. Mr. Martinez told me face to face that he was going to keep every department head accountable for their department and their responsibilities. Your chief of police said that wasn't his job. That's not the first time he's lied in Colorado or something, Commissioners. The first time he did that, but we were going to have that meeting with Commissioner Moya just before your re-election, Mayor. We had that meeting with Commissioner Moya at the Northwest Center, and I told you, Commissioners, that you were not invited, just Commissioner Moya. Russ was there, the next city manager was there. Your chief of police stood right there in front of you people, and you're a witness to this, and he said this. You wanted to be at that meeting, the Commissioners meeting, at Moya's meeting, because he was going to instruct us or school us about code enforcement, a job that he said was not his. Under the code of conduct, and what Martinez said, that he was going to keep them accountable. Now it's time for you to keep them accountable and jump with line and be such a coward to do his job. He's not doing it. And under the code of conduct, if I'm wrong, I know under the military code of conduct, basically somebody that high rank should be either demoted, code enforcement, remember what he's talking about, or fire him. Because he's doing dereliction of duty there. And as far as pursuing this person that owns a pontoon boat, you haven't done it. You're not going to he lives and knows his business. We had that happen here to one of our citizens here. His name was Mr. Hayes, and he went through a lot of hicks with it because of his property and whatever it was. At the time, I don't know exactly what it was, but I know there was a big old write-up on it. Well, tonight, you should thank Commissioner Moya and praise you for doing the job that your chief of police should have done.
Thank you, Mr. Moya. We
We
appreciate your comments.
2 weeks, by the commissioners meeting, that boat will be taken out behind the fruit corp factory and dispose of. The only thing salvageable of that boat could be the trailer and the pontoons, if anything.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Your 3 minutes are up.
Because I don't want to come.
We appreciate your comments.
But I'm asking you if you please do this. I don't want to follow another course that I have to follow through. And please don't make me do this.
I have been by there and I have seen it.
Bye.
All right, your 3 minutes are up. How can can you not hear me? Thank you. And for your information, I have been by there and I have seen it. So, Mr. Moya is very important. I know that, but some of the rest of us have seen it also. So thank you. All right, who is next?
Mr. Romero.
Mr. Romero, you're on the line, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, I'm calling in, really for concerns on the Main Street project. I sent pictures, I believe, to all the commissioners and, regarding my concerns with, the asphalt applications, with the concrete work, with the damage that's been done to property. And I just wanted to come on record and voice my concerns. And I would really like to be kept informed as to what J&H Construction is going to be doing to mitigate the damage to the property that my wife and I own there. That's really all I have. We've seen the pictures. If you need more pictures, I have more. I've tried to keep the contractor from using my property, but to no avail. Again, I just wanted to voice my concerns. I appreciate having the time to comment, and thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have anyone else?
1 second, Mayor. I just wanted to state that during my manager's report, I will be addressing some of the concerns and some updates since our site visit and discussion. So I'll be addressing those in the manager's report. And with that, we have a few more people online. Is there anybody else online right now that would like to give a public comment? I do not believe there are any further comments, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent without discussion or vote. The items that we will be voting on for the consent agenda are approval of December 17th, 2020 commission meeting minutes, that's all. So do I have entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll go ahead and second it, Mayor.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Good.
Next on the agenda is the ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2021-01, Open Meetings Act Resolution.
And that will be me, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is our annual resolution for the Open Meetings Act. As you can see, it mirrors pretty much last year's, with the exception, of course, the dates. Nothing else has changed. The only thing that I did add is the last paragraph, paragraph number 9, to kind of cover any changes that we may have regarding public health emergencies. The language that I added states, notwithstanding any other provision of this resolution, meeting locations, in-person meetings, posting requirements, and any other deviation made necessary or advisable by any public health emergency or conditions may be made while taking into account guidance provided by the New Mexico Attorney General's Office for public meetings during public health emergencies. So that is just to cover in case we need to cancel a meeting or anything like that. We're covered in regards to our Open Meetings Act. Other than that, everything else is the same.
Okay, are there any questions concerning this resolution? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept resolution 2021-01.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion
I'll
to
make a
approve.
motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, August.
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-1.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is bids and contracts. The first one is the change order 3 for Second Street improvements. I believe, Project Manager Ralph Lopez will give us this.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. This is change order 3 for the Second Street project for J&H Construction. They requested additional time. This is a time-only change order. No money is added to the project or deleted. They requested extra time based on the weather conditions that they've had. The contract time on this project extended into the cold weather, and we've had a lot of problems getting the concrete poured and the asphalt laid in the time period they've had, plus the snows above the normal that we would expect on this project. And the engineer agreed that they deserve this time, and I concur on that. So I'd like to get this time to ask for your approval.
Okay, and do we have any questions or concerns?
How long will the time?
I'm sorry, it's 30 days, sir.
Okay, and you think this time we'll get it all completed in 30 days?
We have some other concerns on the project that may require some additional time as well, depending on how they're dealt with. So at this time, that is enough to complete, barring those other circumstances. So,
But that includes some of what the gentleman that called earlier, we're talking about.
no, sir, this is time only for the weather. It doesn't include any of the other problems that we've had on the project. So that would be handled separately in a different change order. We determine if they're at fault, if they would even deserve time on anything. So that will be handled on a case-by-case basis, depending on what we decide on those.
Yeah, because it's been 30 days, I guess we could handle it because it's been a long time.
Yes, sir.
But we've had a lot of mud problems.
Yeah, and COVID problems as well.
Yeah,
We've
and
had
COVID.
COVID problems on the project as well, so.
Oh, you did?
early
Any
on.
other questions, comments?
Nothing.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to, accept this change order 3 for Second Street improvements.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve change order 3 for Second Street improvements.
Okay.
I need a second.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yeah.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
All right, next is the Tucumcari Airport runway 321 pavement rehabilitation construction.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is a new agreement for additional work out at the airport that was just released. This was the next item on our, they call it a CIP for the airport instead of ICIP. This is the state portion of this grant. It would be a estimated $600,000 grant. The state portion would be $54,000, and the sponsors portion with us, if the federal is approved, would be $6,000 for this project. It is to resurface the runway 321 and get it up to current FAA code. How this works is they actually approve the state portion of it. Then we go out to bid for the construction of it, and based on what the bids come in, then the federal portion will match theirs with a separate agreement. So at this time, this is just the state portion of it. And we don't actually even pledge our matching at this point until we find out what the total's gonna be. So, with any questions, I'd ask for your approval.
Actually, the 540,000 comes from where?
That'd be the federal matching, the FAA.
Federal match.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, statements, commissioners?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the Tucumcari Airport Runway 3-21 pavement rehabilitation. Don't everybody jump at once.
Madam
I'll make
Mayor,
a motion that we approve the, what was that?
Airport Runway 3-21 project, pavement.
I'll make a motion, we approve the Tucumcari Airport Runway 321 pavement rehabilitation construction.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. Next on the agenda is approval of the contract with Lamar for the leasing, not releasing, but leasing it of 3 billboards.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So now this contract is going to be $8,712. It will be coming out of lodger's tax. I did want to emphasize that this was discussed during the lodger's tax meeting. And the plan right now is to obtain these 3 billboards. They're the existing billboards we have in Amarillo. They're on all east of Tucumcari. And the concept is, if approved later tonight with a new marketing company, we will begin to rebrand. Well, we've already rebranded. We're going to redesign the vinyls for those billboards. And as soon as that is completed, we will be installing those new vinyls. Not we as a city, but the
Right.
contractor.
Contract, Lamar will.
So with that, I ask for your approval of this contract.
With all due respect to Mr. Martinez, but I do need to clarify that amount is 18,712, and I think you said 8,712.
Did I? Sorry.
Yes,
Oh,
and that
thank
also includes, you said the vinyl?
Correct.
Sorry about that.
you. Okay,
Are these the billboards that, one of the lodger's tax, Patel, was that the one he was talking about?
I'm not certain to tell you the truth. I just know for sure these are the 3 billboards. They have the locations within the contract. And like I said, they're all east of Tucumcari, between here and Amarillo, Texas.
do I have a motion to approve the contract with Lamar for the leasing of the 3 billboards?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Lamar for the releasing of 3 billboards.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call. I think Todd, I think Duplantis did. Okay.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Thank you. I lost my
Commissioner
track.
Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is the appointment of a citizen to the Macmillan Foundation Board. I got a letter from CJ Weigel, who's the chairman of this Macmillan Board, asking that we reappoint Edward Perea of Tucumcari. He's been on this for 3 years and his term is up, and he has said that he would like to be on it again. So, and he's spoken to Edward to find out that he's willing to serve. So I would entertain a motion to approve Edward Perea to be the city's representative on the Macmillan Foundation Board.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Edward Perea to be the city's representative for the McMullen Foundation Board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second
Roll call, please.
it. Let me ask a question.
Okay.
Exactly what are some of the things that this Foundation has done.
Oh, my goodness,
I mean, I'm not very much aware of it.
yeah,
because I
they
don't-
give lots of money. They give money to, well, used to, they would fund like the orchestra program that would come to the elementary school and present different plays and money. But one of the main ones they've done, I'm trying to think what it is. You remember, I mean, it's like thousands of dollars that they give. It's almost always for our youth.
No, I just don't know what.
Yeah. I'm blank right now. I just went totally blank on it.
If I'm correct, I believe they helped out with Rawhide about a year ago.
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
They helped with some of the events.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do kind of like civil things.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so, we've had the motion, a second, and roll call.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
sorry about that, Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is, discussion and vote on agreement for a lobbyist for the upcoming legislative, session. And I do believe that that is, Mark, city manager will discuss this.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. This year I wanted to try something a little bit different. It's difficult with COVID. The legislative session is not going to be open to the general public. With that being said, I feel I have certain obligations as a city manager. I know in the past, previous city manager liked to go up to Santa Fe and do a lot of this on his own. However, I have obligations to stay back here in Tucumcari and manage the city. I cannot be up there as often as the previous city manager was. Also considering, like I said, the difficulty with it not being open to the public, Mr. Hardin has been very successful in obtaining capital outlay funds for both Mesa Lands and Quay County. And I'd like to give him a shot to represent Tucumcari and relay some of our concerns, most specifically to our representative and our senators, but also with being involved with the different committees with his experience. I think it'd be beneficial to the city of Tucumcari. And like I said, throughout this whole process through April, he'd be keeping us up to date on things that may be interested, or also pushing things to those bills that may be on our radar, anything that would be in the best interest of the city of Tucumcari. So at this time, I would ask for your approval.
Okay, Commissioner Arias, you have any questions?
Yes, Mayor. So for this agreement, it is only during the legislative session, correct?
That is correct. I know, for example, I had talked with the county manager. They choose to contract with him year round to keep things up to date with the different finance committees and things that come out throughout the year. But based on budget, since this wasn't budgeted in the current fiscal year, I'm choosing just to do so through that legislative session. And if things are successful and we're happy, when we discuss the next budget, maybe we could consider doing that if that's appropriate. If not, I think the main concern at this time is to assist us with this difficult legislative session we're about to face.
Okay, and there's no other project that's gonna be neglected or, with these funds being released, there's nothing that's gonna be thrown on the back burner because of it?
No, sir. This has all been vetted. I've talked to our finance director and we have money available for this.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Moya, any questions?
Actually, what are some of the items you're going for?
The items, so right now, we've been discussing what we're gonna shoot for with our capital outlay request. It's difficult, considering the fact, we don't know how much money is gonna be available at this time. So it's either gonna be a continuation of our two top priorities. One is the water tanks on 11th Street. Unfortunately, with the money we have received previously, it's not enough to get the project done. And even if we're to expect an average which has been given to the county or to the city previously, that would not be enough to complete the steel tank as required. Therefore, I think we should not waste an application on the tanks. We're gonna have to go after Water Trust Board funding or drinking water funds to complete that project. One of my suggestions is a continuation of last year's capital outlay money, which was on the east side of town, improving The sewer lines coming in from KOA, as referenced previously, there has been some concerns with maybe some infiltration and whatnot. So last year's allotment's only gonna realistically get us enough money to conduct the planning and engineering design. And then after that, I would expect for us to utilize any remaining funds towards construction. But that's why I want to request more funds for that project this year. That way we have enough to actually do something with that project instead of just having plans sitting on the shelf.
What else?
That's the top priority. That's based on our ICIP. So that's my plan. I know it's going to be very limited this year.
You're not supposed to even go for another pothole machine.
I do not believe so, because something of that nature is not on our ICIP. Ralph, I'm not sure, you know better than I do, but I don't believe a pothole machine's on the ICIP. And to be eligible for a capital outlay request, it has to be part of that ICIP.
Well, I guess you're gonna, I think we ought to go for more than one item. We have clinics in other counties, and what amazing how some of these other counties get so many things, and we only get one little Mickey Mouse item. So I think maybe the commission in the next work session, we can discuss it, and maybe we can go for something else, because actually the city, the infrastructure is really weak. I know. How about that water tank you're talking about? It's a problem. Are we going to be able to get money for it? Is it in good condition, or is it having difficulty, or what? Great condition, or what?
There's two things. On our last capital outlay request last year, we're hoping to get enough money to rehabilitate the steel tank. There's some rusting on the outer edges of the tank. Unfortunately, that was too costly, and we didn't have enough city funds to put into that project to complete it. So we since retracted and changed the scope to rehabilitating the concrete tank and operating solely on the concrete tank till we get the funds available to actually complete the rehabilitation of the steel tank. We have some preliminary estimates from the engineer on contract, and I believe it's upwards of $1 million. So in order to be able to complete that, we in my opinion, requesting that out of capital outlay this year would be in vain. Because we're still going to have to go after an additional funding source to complete that. But with the current money we have now, we should be able to get any engineering required and to rehabilitate the interior of the concrete tank. The outside is just cosmetic. And once that has been completed, like I say, we could go after additional funding for the steel tank.
Okay, that's not going to create a problem for us, because that's an old tank.
No, sir, we're fine. The main
What's the
concern,
density on it?
excuse me?
For the rusted, what is the density problem?
I'm not sure the actual density, but I can tell you
The engineers
the state-
put it together, haven't they?
they haven't evaluated the steel tank at this point. Like I said, we've shifted gears because, for what it's worth, NMED, the environmental department, had red flagged the concrete tank. So we took it out of service a year or two ago. But the plan, based on money and being most practical to the city, is to backtrack and go ahead and now rehabilitate that concrete tank, get it back in service. The steel tank's completely operational. We're just trying to be proactive and prevent any issues happening with the steel tank. So it's not, if we continue to operate it, that it'd be detrimental. We're just trying to be proactive and get that completely coated, complete things inside, maybe some sand and sediment removal from the interior. Safety protection on the ladders and whatnot, just making sure everything's compliant with OSHA and NMED.
The sand's being drained out of it?
No, sir, not at this point. That's part of the cost, that $1 million. It's gonna take that much just to accomplish all those tasks.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, do you have any questions about the lobbyist?
Commissioner Moya beat me to the punch about the pothole machine. Is there any way we can look at some grants? Because I know last year, Mark, you and Britt had actually, when we thought we were going to get some money from Senator Campos, y'all had found a machine that was a lot more effective than the common pothole machine. I know there's got to be some type of grants out there for something like that. If we can't get it at capital outlay, can we start looking into some type of grant that could help us get some, because we're in dire need here. We're putting a lot of money into this pothole machine.
I agree. So one of the options, I'm not sure if there's grants out there available, but in preliminary discussion, of course, this would be vetted through the commission. For next fiscal year budget, we're talking about possibly budgeting money to obtain a new pothole machine if necessary. I have been in talks with the street superintendent about it may even be a different type of equipment than we had discussed previously, but it is pretty much something that heats up the asphalt and you're able to rework it and you add your oil and you add some more mix into it. Not sure how effective, it's just something real preliminary we've been discussing. We just need something that's practical and that's gonna last. And like I said, not be a money pit where we're continually having to put time and effort, and then that's also downtime for our mechanics having to repair this pothole machine all the time.
Well,
Okay, can we get back on the agreement about the lobbyist and then we can get on this on commissioner comments? Because we need to go ahead and finish out our agenda here. So do you have any questions on the lobbyist? Mayor Pro Tem?
No.
Okay,
No,
okay. Commissioner Villanueva, do you have any questions concerning that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to vote on an agreement for a lobbyist for the upcoming legislative session.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for the lobbyist of Mr. Clinton Harden for the upcoming legislative session.
Do I have a second?
that's it.
You'll second it? Mr. Moy is seconded. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
yes,
Commissioner Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Next is the EMS Funds Act, fiscal year 2022. Casey Mackey, our fire chief, will be presenting that.
Y'all be nice to him, this is his first.
I know, it's his first one.
And we already didn't recognize him.
I didn't recognize him because he didn't have on a hat, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. What we have brought to you today was for the EMS Local Fund Act. It's the grant we receive every year. It's usually roughly around 15,000. We asked for 25 last year. I asked for 35 this year. I'm just hoping that maybe the state could release some more funds. It kind of depends on the area, the county and Logan and San Home, depending on if they put in for that EMS Fund Act also, and how much we actually receive on that.
Okay.
And it's, I've also, if you could read in there, what the money will be used for.
Right.
Our ambulance they are getting more miles on them. We're doing a lot more transfers than we used to, and so we just we'd like to have some of that money from the state to kind of supplement some of the money coming out of general fund.
If you don't ask for it, you won't get it.
Yes, ma'am.
So, it's good you asked for that much. Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, you have any questions concerning this?
no, I don't.
Okay, Commissioner Arias,
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Villanueva,
I got one, concern. You're saying that the ambulances are getting too many miles and stuff?
Yes, sir. We've got an ambulance right now with a little over 200,000 miles, and it's kind of been a problem here lately. We've got another one that's about to approach 200,000, and then we have our newest one, which I believe is somewhere around 36,000 miles, and it's a 2016 model. The ambulance with the 200,000 miles, we put a lot of money into it this year, replacing the driveline. We still need to replace the rear end. We've had to replace EGR valves. So it's taken a lot of our funding out of our budget. So I hope that the state could increase it, but
Yes, sir.
we'll just have to see.
Well, can we auction the old ones and stuff?
Well, that's what I'm trying to work on. I've been in contact with a few ambulance companies that are supposed to be bringing us some demos. What I would like to do is, I know in the past we've ran these wheels off of these ambulances and then we send them to a city auction and then we get $100 for them. What I think should happen was if we could get rid of these ambulances while they're still rolling, and we could get a little bit more out of them, or maybe towards a trade-in. But I just think that we're just we have 2 ambulances right now sitting at our admin yard that I can't get anybody to do anything with them. They've had motors rebuilt and had new motors put in them. The boxes are still really good, but I can't find anybody that really wants to do a remount on a van chassis. They're trying to get rid of the van chassis anymore, or get rid of the diesels in them. And but over the past few years, we've just had nothing but complaints over one of our gas ambulances taking it out on transfer. So really, the gas engines aren't really the way to go with those ambulances. They're just too big, and the fuel mileage is terrible on them. So that's what I'm trying to work towards. I'm going to try to see what I can do about getting a grant for that also, because I know that, you know, again, general fund, you can't just go out and purchase an ambulance. So I'll be working on that in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, but you might look good because your collections are good. And so actually, if you look at that, it's being operated more like a business. So in the near future, you might look or will be able to work on getting better equipment and not have to depend so much on grants.
Yes, sir.
I mean, what I have seen in the improvement in the collection and everything, it looks very positive for your department.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, we appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the EMS Fund Grant fiscal year 2022.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the EMS Fund Act FY 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Commissioner Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See, we were easy on you.
Good job.
Next is the marketing agreement with Leighton Moon.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be presenting that.
Okay.
As you all know, we had a brand relaunch for marketing purposes for Took and Carry back in December. We were fortunate enough for Main Street to assist us with that. Well, I say assist, they provided all the funding, the background work that went into that, so I thank them. I was so impressed. We got great feedback that the contractor that was working on that Leighton Moon, I'd like them to continue to work now with the city. They're working through Main Street now. I'd like to offer them a contract. We have discussed this through Lodgers Tax. They have been pleased with Leighton Moon's work, and they like to continue to work with them as well and see what they have to offer in the future. I love their vision. They're great to work with, great down to earth people. So I can't say enough positive things about them. It's pretty clear cut in the contract what we're able to do. And I'm very ambitious to try to get a lot of the, I guess, top priorities that Lodgers Tax brought to our attention last Lodgers Tax meeting have been addressed in this contract. I'd like to see that. It's very doable to accomplish those tasks within that short time. Again, like everything else, I like to try to get these agreements on a fiscal year basis. That way we're not having to go back and worry about taking money out of 2 different budgets. It's easier when we're talking budget here in a couple of months. So with that being said, I would kindly respect with the highly unanimous recommendation from Lodgers Tax to approve this contract. It's $15,000 out of the executive side of the Lodgers Tax, not to exceed that amount, including GRT. And at this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to do so. I also have Cam, who's with Leighton Moon, that would like to say a few words or maybe answer a few questions you may have.
Okay, does he want to go ahead?
Cam, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, just making sure. Technical issues, all that good stuff. Dealing with today's challenges, which you guys are doing a great job of, by the way. We're down here in Alamogordo. Had the privilege working with New Mexico Main Street. One of the biggest benefits is finding these hidden gems throughout the state. And back in October of 2019, I was still in the same position as Connie Loveland, the executive director for Alamogordo Main Street. Connie is the executive director for Tucumcari Main Street. That right after she started, their organization hosted one of our conferences. So back in October of 2019, I got to visit Tucumcari for the first time, and you know, hidden gem is kind of an understatement. It was just really impressive. You know, who in New Mexico goes on vacation to Tucumcari? I'm not sure what those numbers would look like. I've never really thought about it, but once we got there, we just thought it was fantastic. So then when the opportunity came through New Mexico Main Street for us to work with Connie and work with the Lodgers Tax board and work with everyone, and since then meeting Mark and working with you guys as the community, it's just been fantastic. And so we look forward to continuing that work. We work with a lot of different communities throughout the state, both within that New Mexico Main Street capacity and as a similar deal directly for municipality. We don't take too much on at once. We're a little selective, and just based on the interactions we've had with your team there, your ad hoc volunteer, a lot of times marketing team volunteering kind of within their professional capacity, you know, like Nikki, your new chamber director. We got to meet her virtually the other day. You know, yeah, it's part of her job to look at this kind of stuff, but being actively engaged as what you guys are, this team, we felt like it was a really good fit, and we're very much looking forward to visiting again and meeting a lot of these folks in person. We've had a lot of interaction virtually over the last few months, and yeah, just look forward to it, and definitely open to questions.
I'd like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, since you're on that on the Lodgers Tax Board, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, Mark is correct. It was unanimous and a strong unanimous with all the lodger representatives. Matter of fact, a couple of the meetings went long because all they were talking about was this. So, no, I think they've done a good job, and they've listened to the people. And I think we're going at this a lot different than we did when we was Sunny 505. And I think this is worth a shot.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Mann, do I have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Moya?
So actually, we're looking at this, a $15,000 contract, right? And this is a 6-month contract, is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, so we're looking at that. And mostly what is the area that you're focusing on promoting and working with?
So the first step, based on recommendation from Lodgers Tax, is to create a new visitor's guide for Tucumcari. It's something that we'd be able to show to tourists traveling through town, as well as maybe we could stick a few to Glen Rio, some of the motels up and down 66 as things start to open up. Also, as mentioned earlier, one of the priorities is redesigning the billboards. I know there's been a lot of negative feedback and some concerns from Lodgers Tax utilizing New Mexico True's theme. It really doesn't showcase Tucumcari as a whole. It's almost more of, in my opinion, an intent to market New Mexico as a state. So the new design, of course, is going to be amazing. It's going to be vetted through. We're trying to keep this marketing team together. We had a branding committee meeting earlier this week, and we're wanting to keep the bulk of those people involved with that, and we'll have the feedback. That's something that was discussed in Lodgers Tax a while back, to have this kind of marketing team put together, and they're going to be the people that say, hey, look, we like those graphics. That looks good. That's going to promote Tucumcari in a positive image, and that's what's going to go out on these billboards. So those are a few of the high points. There's also some stuff mentioned in the contract as money allows, update and kind of get some help from the professionals on our new website. That's something that's hopefully going to come in February. We're hoping to launch our new City of Tucumcari website. The other thing it consists of is other print ads and materials. And on attachment A on the back, it kind of gives you a quick oversight. Social media posts and graphics, brand guide updates, advertising design for print and web, meetings and consultation to make sure you're providing great communication with us, letting us know what's going on. And I just feel that in the past, nothing against the previous contractor. I think they were a great firm. I think we just lacked in management of the contract, and that falls back on the previous management. And that's where I vow to stand up and be that voice in between lodger's tax and commission and the contractor to make sure we're truly getting what we expect as a city of Tucumcari. So I think this is a great opportunity. I think everyone's going to be impressed once they see what's to come.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Commissioner Arias, any questions?
Yes, ma'am. So going back to what Commissioner Moya said about the 6 months contract and what you said, that for clarification, that's only to accompany the budget, correct?
Correct. At that time in June, if we're happy, the city's happy with the vision and the way we're going with this marketing plan, it'd be my 100% recommendation that we consider doing a long-term contract with Leighton Moon. I know max we could go 4 years. If it's under 60,000, we don't have to go out for RFP. The sky's the limit. We could discuss that as we get further along towards June. But again, ultimately that's the goal. If everything goes well, is to provide some kind of long-term contract.
And also, I just want to go ahead and the work that I did with the branding committee, you know, Cam and Julia, they're very well capable, and I mean, look at the great product they provided to us. So I have no hesitation on this here. I think it'll be good for us.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept the marketing agreement with Leighton Moon.
I'll make a motion that we approve the marketing agreement with Leighton Moon.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Next is the agreement with LAWPC to provide legal services. I don't know what this is.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be presenting that. This is for Y Law.
Why law? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So the one thing that I've been faced with since I've been here through acting, being assistant city manager, the city used to have an attorney specifically for personnel, HR, employment type issues. Unfortunately, we do have our fair share here within the city of Tucumcari. And I think it's in the best interest for the city of Tucumcari to continue with that and having someone that specializes in this section of law. Our current city attorney right now, that's not his forte, that's not his specialty. And thankfully, knowing kind of some background and know what was happening and the viewpoint from our current city attorney, we did budget for this within this current fiscal year, so the money is there. I just think now more than ever is the time to pull the trigger on this. It's something that's important to us. We want to stay out of lawsuits. We want to stay out of hot water. And just to let the commission know, if we have any kind of legal action against the city and we report it to our insurance, which is a recommendation of our current city attorney, there is a minimum of a $25,000 deductible. So this contract alone pays for itself. It's $10,000 cheaper than that, just in one instance, which we have had that happen while I've been here with the city. So I think it'll pay for itself. This individual is great. It's a top-notch firm. They're what you refer to as super lawyers. They're one of the top firms. They come highly recommended, and we have worked with them in the past with through our insurance company. And the insurance company typically selects the highest rated law firms within the state. So for those reasons, at this time, I would kindly ask for an approval of this agreement.
Does anyone have any questions concerning this agreement?
So it's gonna be 15,000,
That is correct.
or until they draw, I mean, yeah, in the period of time.
So again, these are billed at an hourly rate as needed. This is only through the end of the fiscal year, as all of the contracts that I'm bringing before you tonight, they will expire June 30th of this year.
This is a 6 month.
Correct, this is a 6-month contract as
And
well.
so in order to keep him retained, we're giving the 15,000 to June 30.
Yes, sir.
And if we don't use him, we still,
If we don't use that, then that rolls back over into our budget.
Any other questions?
I don't know.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the agreement with Y Law to provide legal services.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agreement with Y Law to provide legal services.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moya,
yes.
Commissioner Gamava,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is an agreement with Dr. Ronald Chad Carver for medical director services.
Yes, ma'am, I'll represent this one as well. So, it was very unfortunate that, at the end of the last calendar year, before December 31st, Dr. Evitz, submitted his letter of resignation. He stated that, he'd like to slow down a little bit, relax, maybe play some golf and go fishing. So I respect him, and I thank him for the many years of service that he provided to the city of Tucumcari as our medical director. Great guy, and he's been around for quite a while, so I really do want to thank him and tell him how much I appreciate him for doing that for so many years. But with that being said, knowing that was coming, we had to find a new medical director to fill his place. With that, Interim Chief Casey Mackey had done some research and worked with the regional EMS director, as well as some other people that are highly respected in the medical field. And I received great recommendations for Dr. Carver as well. I had the chance of meeting him yesterday in person. A great down-to-earth gentleman. I think he's going to do great for us and help our EMS program excel. He will be responsible for reviewing some of the quality assurance reports based on the EMS reports, as well as give his expertise on what's the best practices and whatnot to fit our department, our EMS department. With that being said, we went back and forth, we negotiated a little bit. Like I said, he comes highly recommended, so he does represent, I believe, Clovis, Hobbs, maybe Otero County. Great gentleman. So with that, I always say you kind of get what you pay for. He was wanting a little bit more than I was looking for. So we were able to negotiate the price down to $600 per month, plus GRT, which is, that's a great rate compared to where we started, trust me. And that's only $100 more per month than we were paying Dr. Evans, which that amount hadn't changed in years. We're very fortunate that Dr. Evans provided that service for the price he did. And with that being said, I mean, this is I have no issues. I think Dr. Carver would be great for our EMS program. He is from Lovington. He lives in Lovington and practices down there, and he will be traveling up here at least quarterly to meet with our individuals at the EMS department. And at this time, I kindly ask for your approval of this agreement.
Any questions?
You said he will be reviewing the quality assurance. That means actually the care that we provide and actually the concerns and complaints.
Correct.
Are you aware of the amount of time that consumes the time?
He does, so it's not going to be on
Like for
every.
Medicare, you must keep those very well up to par.
It's not going to be every report, of course. Any kind of refusal stuff that is common.
No, I'm not talking about that. The quality of care is totally different. It's the level of care that you are maintaining.
I agree, and that's part of his contract that he's.
Because that's a lot. If you look at your complaint, you're looking at a record, he's the one who has to answer. So as long as he's aware of that, I don't see a problem.
He is.
The price is very cheap, to be honest with you.
It is. We were very fortunate with that. Depending on how much time it's taking, he may, if we continue again, wanting to move forward with Dr. Carver in June, we'll have to renegotiate more than likely. But for the sake of helping us with our budget and just being a great guy, he was willing to do that at that price. Again, like you said, anything that we feel that's lacking that he reviews, if we're doing something we shouldn't, that may not be best practice, he's gonna bring it to our attention. Like I said, he's only gonna help make our EMS service better, provide better care, and making sure that our reports are up to par the way they should be.
Okay, that's a lot of work, especially because you have to keep quality of care on the standard for Medicare, it's CMM. And it's his license that will be doing it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No, ma'am, just thank you to Dr. Evans for his years of service.
Right. So I would entertain a motion to accept the agreement with Dr. Carver for medical director services.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with Dr. Ronald Chad Carver for medical director services.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Got it. All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Okay, next on the agenda is the city manager's report. I know.
We finally made it here. I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as possible.
Everybody listen to that. He's gonna keep it.
I'm gonna try.
as brief as possible.
As you can see, it's been very busy since our last meeting in December. A lot of the past 2 weeks have been a lot of effort going into negotiation, drafting, kicking things back and forth between attorneys and all these individuals that we just approved these agreements tonight. So I thank you for getting those passed tonight. There's a lot of hard work and effort that went into those. And right now, I already talked about it, so I'm going to cut some things off my report. But we did meet as a branding committee again this week to discuss the future, where we're going to go, who's going to be a part of that team. And most of all, I wanted to thank the new chamber director, introduce her to the city, Nikki Murray. She's been doing a great job. She just started, but I think she has a great positive attitude, and she's going to be great for not only Tucumcari as a whole, but the Chamber of Commerce. So I want to welcome her and thank her for her involvement with the new committee. Also, yesterday, I was able to meet with the City Manager Association. They're giving us a briefing of the upcoming legislative session, some of the concerns, and it's kind of nice to reconnect with that group. We haven't had a chance to meet in a while. We plan on meeting weekly during the session. There's a lot of hurdles that we face, and a lot of people in the same situation as we are here in Tucumcari in regards to dealing with the difficulties with COVID, how it's affected our economy, and also concerns with vaccinations and testing. And I'm happy to announce that, in all honesty, we're doing pretty good here in Tucumcari. We have the communication. I think our weekly meetings that we have with emergency management, the hospital, the local clinics have done wonders. We were just so much more organized than some of these other communities. So that makes me happy that we've implemented those kinds of things. Another update is lights on the west side are working now. The lights that were near the Tri-Store are now operational. The lights on the east side of town on the boulevard going out on 66, I have been told that those are working. We still have some other lights that are a work in progress. Of course, we still have the issue with Dunn Park, and we still have the issue with the high-rise lights on exit 335, the first exit coming in from the east side of town. Also, another thing that has been brought up is a behavioral health regional facility that they're wanting to build in the northeast side of the state. It sounds like if it goes through, it's going to be either in Curry County or Roosevelt County. They have been meeting with all the northeastern municipalities and counties in an effort to start a feasibility study. They have asked if the city of Tucumcari would like to be a part of that. They are breaking up the cost for that feasibility study based on population. And I believe the share for the city of Tucumcari is somewhere in the ballpark of $3,000. So that is something that we will have to discuss at next meeting if the commission is wanting to appropriate those funds to help with that feasibility study. And if so, where are we going to pull that money from for the budget? And last but not least, well, I got two things, sorry. The mayor and I had the privilege of attending award to Larry Smith. It is the Heritage Award presented by the New Mexico Route 66 Association for his efforts in rehabbing and the upkeep of his motel at the Motel Safari. During COVID, it's been difficult, and he's been striving to keep things going by adding some paint and redoing the roof at the motel. So it was nice to see someone from our community here in Tucumcari receive that annual award. And the most important thing I think tonight that's been a hot topic amongst many business owners, the city, Main Street, there have been numerous concerns from business owners on the 2nd Street project. I did want to emphasize that the mayor and I, as well as Mr. Lopez, our project manager at Community Development, Tucumcari Main Street with Connie Loveland, the contractor, J&H Services, they had representation, as well as Bohannon Houston, our engineers on contract. We heard the concerns. We are disappointed as a whole in the lack of communication from the contractor. We are aware that the contractor came in and paved over the Christmas holiday following Christmas. And the one thing I can tell you is, like I said, it's disappointing, the lack of communication, but what they did is not the final product. This is just a midway point. They will complete the project appropriately. We understand there's some issues with the pavement, with the concrete and whatnot. Those have all been addressed with the contractor. They will be completed, and all issues will be rectified before the end of the project. Ultimately, the city of Tucumcari has a contract between the city and the contractor, and we will not release final payment until we are completely satisfied. We will make sure we get what we paid for with this project. And with that being said, unfortunately, with construction, there are a few hiccups. There has been some damage to stucco and whatnot to some local businesses. There has been some issues, maybe with things not being the way they were before the construction project. From what I've been told and updates from both Ralph and from Mr. Lopez, as well as the engineer, these things will come at the end of the project. Once it's complete, then they'll come in and clean everything up. That's when they'll replace everything that's been damaged. What they'll actually have to do is go back and review the video that was taken before the project started. The contractor does that in an effort to make sure anything that was damaged is rightfully replaced to at least the way it was before, if not better. So I just want to emphasize that we do hear the concerns. They have been addressed. And one possible thing I thought to do a little bit better, and I think Connie Loveland at Main Street is helping be that communication in between the city sometimes and the project with the contractors and business owners. She's been able to kind of explain some things that are going on, but I want to step up as a city and maybe have maybe some kind of virtual meeting that we can have with all business owners that are interested, and just kind of give them a project update where we're at. That way there's no misunderstanding. That way everybody hears it straight from the source and not third-party information. And with that being said, there is a final concern. I attended Tucumcari Main Street's meeting on Tuesday, and based on a recommendation from Consensus Planning, which is a subcontractor or affiliated through contract with Bohannon Houston, our engineer, they recommended that the city force the contractor to remove the seat walls that have already been poured based on the color and the color itself. Again, I have great concern with the lack of communication. They did not build those to specification. And in my opinion, and I believe, I don't want to speak for Mr. Lopez and some of the Main Street as well, it was supposed to be a two-portion pour of concrete. This was poured in one monolithic fashion, which is actually better structurally. It's probably more structurally sound than it would have been if they would have built it to spec. Again, I don't like that they kind of freelanced and did what they wanted to. That's been addressed. But I wanted to bring it to the attention of the commission if you feel it's justified to make them tear up all that concrete for those seat walls based on color to color mostly alone. So I want to read a letter that I received from Tucumcari Main Street. It's addressed to the project manager of J&H Services to Mr. Wesley Martinez, and it says, "Dear Mr. Martinez, on January 11th, 2021, Tucumcari Main Street was made aware of issues with the construction of the seat walls in the 2nd Street/Great Blocks project, including the seat walls not being constructed according to plan and poured in the wrong color. We are aware of Consensus Planning's request that the seat walls be torn out and reconstructed according to plan. While the Board of Tucumcari Main Street does not have a problem with the monolithic pour, we are unsatisfied with the color used and therefore concur with Consensus Planning's recommendation. Unfortunately, there are other items of concern with the project. Our office has fielded numerous calls and emails from concerned property owners regarding damage to personal property. The list of those issues has been provided to Bohannon Houston as well as the City of Tucumcari. The TMS board also observed numerous places where cracking is already occurring in the curbing and water harvesting areas and would request that these areas be repaired or replaced. We look forward to the resolution of these issues and the completion of the 2nd Street Great Blocks on Main Street project. Sincerely, Cooper Glover, President, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Tucumcari Main Street." So there's a few things to consider here. Based on sitting in the meeting, I think the main concern with the color, it is a salsa red and it was supposed to be an oatmeal bluff. I think the majority of the concern comes that it's going to fade and turn a pinkish color, similar to what happened on the north side of Main Street towards the railroad depot. I understand that concern. The other thing to consider is this is going to cause quite a bit of downtime, and that's why Mr. Lopez said it depends if that change order we approved tonight is going to cover that. I don't know all the details on the construction side of it, and I'd ask Mr. Lopez just to say a few words. I guess it's precast is the way it was supposed to be done, and that could take months to accomplish possibly?
Yes, Mr. Manager. The original seat wall was supposed to be constructed actually in 4 pieces. The main concrete foundation, and then it was supposed to have 2 columns on each end, which were supposed to be 4 inches higher than the actual seat portion of it. And then it was supposed to have a precast seat of a different color sitting on top of that, which would just be held in place by a mortar. So it was actually a 5-piece deal with the 2 end pieces having to be precast by custom made and precast by a concrete foundry somewhere. They would have to be custom ordered, and that's my biggest concern about tearing out. There's 4 of the 6 are completed right now. If we tore those out and started from scratch on them again, they would have to send the plans to a custom casting place and have those remade, and then all of it would have to be re-poured, and then a custom concrete cap would have to be made for each one individually. So my biggest concern is the time in doing that. The color is aesthetic, and the fact that they didn't do it per plans, this was troubling as well to me. I agree with the manager that pouring it all the way they did is actually, to me, a stronger thing. It's one solid piece instead of 5 different ones. When the earth settles underneath it, which it eventually will, they have the ability to separate, in my opinion, and then also just the time it's going to take to have those custom pieces crafted for 6 of them. The color, we did propose a couple other ideas to correct this. The 2 columns on the end of the seat wall were supposed to have been raised 4 inches above, and they were supposed to be a contrasting color from the oatmeal color that the seat was supposed to be. I proposed maybe pouring just caps for the end of the columns, which would raise them up to the 4 inches above the seat that they would be, and we could pour those the natural concrete color, the gray that they were supposed to be anyway, and that would give us a color contrast of red and gray. It wouldn't be the oatmeal color that they originally sketched in it. Another thought was instead of either staining the existing concrete, which I'm not sure the process on that and how long those would last. All colored concrete tends to fade at some point, but the manager and I suggested maybe tiling the top of it may be an option, or to look at other options like that. A tile mortared on there, I think, would be a better finish than than just staining what's there. And of course, the other option too is have them tear it out and replace it at the contractor's expense, and which I have no problem telling them to do that. My only concern is the time it would take, because I think those custom pieces are gonna be a long time. We'd have to leave the contract open through that time till the construction is complete. And, not knowing right now how long that would take, that's my biggest concern on it, so.
And the disturbance of the businesses downtown.
It would be again, that we could
Yeah.
finish everything else but that, but at some point we'd have to leave the contract open until they come redo those, so.
Actually, the 5-piece is it's kind of a weak, structure.
I
And it will
suspect,
crack.
that would be my
especially
worry
the
about
way
it.
Things settle in the sandy soil that we have here. You know, all we're gonna have, you might go and make them do what they're required to do, but I think within 5 or 6 years, we would have them cracked and a mess. So if
Yeah.
they're more sturdy this way, I'm keeping it sturdy, cause, there's a lot of traffic downtown too, you know?
Mhm.
The other thing I wanted to state just for the record, that also got discussed in the Main Street meeting is, for the longest time, I guess, the original plans stated that the color was TBD, to be determined. There was an email that went out, not sure exactly, I don't want to be misquoted, whether it was from Bohannon Houston or Consensus Planning, that stated the color to be utilized is the oatmeal color. So I agree. I'm more upset about the lack of communication, the oversights, and not following the specs. But in return, we ended up with something that's possibly more structurally sound.
Yeah.
To me, I'm worried about the longevity and the structure more than the color. And unfortunately, I don't want to sound pessimistic about it, but to me, I'm looking at longevity. The other thing to consider is, the reason I wanted to bring this, I thought it was important to bring it to the commission tonight, is I feel we have a great partnership with Tucumcari Main Street. I wanted their voice to be heard. They are a key stakeholder in this project, as they provided quite a bit of funds to finish this project. But ultimately, the contract is between the contractor and the city of Tucumcari. We have to look at liabilities and possibly grant deadlines as well that may be coming up to expire. We need to be good partners, but we also got to make sure that the city of Tucumcari is not left out in the cold either.
It doesn't sound like it's gonna be that bad of a problem with the situation and the structure of the thing. It might be the other than part, but also the delay, that thing has taken forever.
Yes.
I'm already tired of it.
And since we do hold a contract, that's why I wanted to ask the city commission. Tucumcari Main Street was asking if we'd be willing to draft a letter similar to theirs in support of this. But again, I kind of voiced my opinion during the meeting. I feel that the color is something we can work on. There's other ways to address the color if that's the main concern. Structurally, I think it's going to be better than it was intended to be.
Yeah, we have to remove that project that's done that.
I got one question. What's the problem with the asphalt?
The problem with the asphalt is they were trying to get the asphalt down before we got more weather. They were having to continually go back and take back the sub base, put it back in, compact it. I don't know. I can't remember. I know the weekend after Christmas was nice when they paved. They said that they're worried about the weather that following week and they want to get that first layer down right away because the temperature was nice. And I understand that. Originally it was meant to be one continuous overlay, where now it's going to be two separate. They're going to make sure that they get tacked down and make sure they do everything they're supposed to. But that was the concern, the biggest concern. There were a few complaints that GeoGrid was taken up and they felt maybe it wasn't compacted. The contractor's response to that was that they actually went a thicker amount of asphalt, which may even be better than just the GeoGrid. That's based on feedback from the contractor and the engineers. I mean, that's not my expertise. I was taking their word. Maybe you'd have some idea on that as well, but.
Well, like I asked the last meeting, as long as they give us some kind of warranty.
And that's the thing they have since then.
Something happens, they will come back and fix it.
We do have a warranty. We'll go through the 11-month inspection once everything's, we get to that substantial completion. They have taken core samples, but even through a core sample, you can't verify everything that you would have if we had people on site. If we would have known, Mr. Lopez would have been on site checking asphalt temperature, we would have had hopefully the engineer on site at that time as well. So it has been relayed through the engineer that any kind of critical work like that needs to be coordinated with the city. We need 24 to 48 hours advance notice. We can't let this happen again. We need to make sure everything's fine. And then the other concern with the asphalt, that it was too low. It wasn't hitting where the,
What is that?
which one of us it is, maybe it's me. So like I said, there's concern that the asphalt was too low in spots. There were some rough pieces, and again, it's not the finished product. It's not the finished product for the concrete. If it's not something that's just cosmetic, of course, we'll ask them to rip it up and re-pour. So yeah, I think we're gonna be good. It's been clearly stated to the contractor that the lack of communication has to stop. We need to do better. They need to do better.
Do we actually have somebody to inspect the jobs?
So we have Mr. Lopez as well as representative from Bohanna, Houston, that will be on site for future paving.
Todd, is that your speaker?
I think it's me. I don't know if I'm moving.
That's what I mean. Is that your
They still got to put
speaker?
one more coat of asphalt on top of that. don't they?
I'm kidding.
Yes, sir. One more lift of asphalt. The other thing that was a concern, when we had this last snow, there is an area off of Second and Center near the Mason building that was holding water.
Yes.
And we all know how much of a headache that is here on Main Street. The only concern I have is it's not done to final grade, so we're not 100% sure what's going to happen. But I know I personally was part of meetings where Mr. Lopez brought that up numerous times with those curb bump outs, that there's a good chance it's going to hold water. And unfortunately, if it's built to specification and the grade with the drainage plan that we had to keep by NMDOT, if it happens because we requested to kind of remove those bump outs, and that's some of the things you may lose out on when you're going for aesthetics and you're going for looks more than quality. And it's unfortunate. It's going to look nice, but I'm hoping that it doesn't hold water. But we're doing everything within our means now to make sure that this project finishes up successfully and in the best interests of the city and the residents.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, anything else? Mark, anything else?
No, ma'am. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, so next on the agenda is items from commissioners. Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, go ahead now and talk about your potholes and machine. And I apologize for interrupting you a while ago, but I wanted to get back on track.
No, that's fine. I did have a concern. I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be able to see what the capital outlay was going to be before the legislation started. I want to thank Mr. Pacheco and Mr. Romero for calling in and voicing their concerns. It's always a welcome thing to see our citizens speak up. Mark, Mr. Patel said he's been trying to get on the agenda for the copyright of the To Carry Tonight. He gave me 3 months that he tried. Is there any way we can get him on to get him to do this?
We'll have a sidebar after the meeting. We can discuss that. There's a reason why that happened. And I'll go into detail later.
Okay. I want to congratulate or I just thank Mr. Pereira for staying on the board. It's always nice that somebody spends that much time on a board that they decide they want to continue on helping out. Something that was brought up a little bit ago that I want to ask, what is our city attorney's forte?
I'd say typical things dealing with municipal government in forms of reviewing your basic contract, providing us contract formats, dealing with the municipal court system. He deals with that, going back and forth quite a bit. It's more general law in regards to municipal government, not so much the personnel expertise.
Okay. Last thing, if we're not going to go after this individual on the pontoon boat, what are we going to do with the pontoon boat?
That's a good question. I can make it disappear. Like I said, it hasn't been a top priority because we've had a lot of other things in the form of compliance and EPA and other stuff going on that it just gets pushed back to the back burner, something that needs to be done. There's no excuse, but it's not a major concern right now at this moment because it's not a safety issue. The issue is that kids were jumping on it. It's been moved behind a fence. It's not much of an eyesore because it's out of sight from the street side. It is something that we will continue to work on diligently. It's just other things were a higher priority within the last month or two.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I got. I want to thank everybody that participated in the public hearing. Again, it's nice when the citizens do get up and get involved. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Arias?
Need some?
Me three?
I still have battery. Guess I can talk.
I know mine will turn red.
Okay, Commissioner Moya, go ahead.
The question I have, and this is important, I think this is where the ball is being dropped on the policy bowl. The thing that the city of Tucumcari has to do, that is, there is a title issue on it. They talked about the title. There is no reason why the police department cannot assign somebody to go ahead and do the legal work. That is a vehicle that should be processed legally and right. It's not a matter of making it disappear. It's a matter of following the law. And when an abandoned vehicle with a title, once you have a title, it is considered to be a vehicle. It's registered with the Department of Motor Vehicle. That falls under the Department of the Code Enforcement, or which is the police department. And then they have to go in, do the title, do the publication, and do the disposal of it. Do it legal, do it right. Get rid of it. I'm tired of it. You need to, as a city manager, you need to get with your chief of police and you need to assign it to him. And I don't want to hear this saying, it's not my job. That is his job. So get rid of that thing. And then once you get it legalized and notified, take it over to wherever they make and crunch it, because then the city has the right to dispose of it.
And Commissioner White, I think it was taken out of context with the previous comment from Mr. Pacheco.
No, he said it to us when I asked him here. It wasn't Mr. Pacheco.
I don't believe the police chief said it wasn't his job to do that, to handle it if he was advised to do so. It wasn't his job at the time. He didn't have the expertise to do the research to find where the houseboat came from.
The whole deal is any ordinance that is considered to be within the law enforcement and an abandoned vehicle or abandoned boat in the streets of the city of Tucumcari comes under the Department of Code Enforcement, especially if the vehicle would be under the police department, which would be the enforcement. Therefore, it is his job to have researched it or whatever needed to be done. That thing stayed there for 2 months, did not get towed away until I started complaining about it, and then it was ticketed and left alone. The whole deal is do the research, get the title straightened out, and dump it. We're tired of it. I don't want to see it before this commission again. I am tired of it. It's so simple. If you guys can do it, let me do it. I know how to do those things, but that's the job of that department.
All right.
And
Okay.
On the COVID, have we got most of our law enforcement and everybody that's out in the public vaccinated for it?
No, sir. We have provided the opportunity and pushed the word out to them. Unfortunately, there are lots of public safety employees within the city that have chosen not to take it. It is their prerogative. It's not forced upon
As long as
them.
you document it in the personnel record, that's all that matters, because they are exposed because they deal with the public, and that's the matter. But it's being available,
It
and
has
those who
been
have been
available.
given the opportunity has gotten taken.
That is correct, sir. We're already on phase 1B, which is going out to mostly teachers at this point and those that are signing up. And like I said, it's been offered to them, but we cannot force them to.
No,
take
I
it.
understand that, and I don't really care about forcing anybody. All I care is that we do provide the opportunity for it.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, and on the pothole again, coming back to it, it's a sad thing that we lost the one that had been given to it, that had really advocated for us, and yet the governor went ahead and avoided it because nobody seemed to have taken an interest. I hope we do need to do something. It's becoming to be a nuisance again. These potholes are all over town. And I can understand where people get mad. You have a brand new vehicle, you pay 30, 40,000, and then you hit a pothole, now you have it out of line, and now you have to go get another alignment. So I think we need to look and see, I don't know, I couldn't even ask Senator Campos again for another pothole machine after the embarrassment that I went through, and then not follow through and it was approved and lose it at the last hurdle because of the city not doing their due diligence and staying on top of it.
No, sir, for clarification, that was part of an NMDOT bill, which was a line item veto from the governor, so I do not believe, we were not the only entity that got line item vetoed. It affected everybody that fell underneath that NMDOT.
But it should have been pulled out. I talked to the commissioner, to the senator, and he was talking about it. He was very disappointed on it. Other than that, I think the COVID has really been hard on the whole community. I think the city of Tucumcari and the residents work hard. We can accomplish almost what Union County and Harding County is. I think Harding County is green now, Union County is yellow. And I think the comments have been is that now most of the restaurants can be open in those two counties. You know, and I think today we had 0, which is really great. And I've seen a lot more zeros in Clay County. Hopefully, eventually we get to yellow and then green. Those are the stages that we need to.
That's the first time we've been 0, and I don't know when, because yesterday when I checked it, it was 5.
Yeah, but it's coming. I mean, I've seen a lot more zeros because we get a report every day.
I do too, yeah.
Tiffany thing, whatever it is from the Department of Health.
Mayor, based on our weekly meetings,
Right.
it's nearly impossible to meet the criteria to get out of the red level for Quay County. We could go 4 or 5 days in a row with 0 cases, and we have 1 day with 5. It's a numbers game. We get thrown out based on percentage. They based ours, even though we're a small county, I think the average is based on 100,000 population. So I feel it's a bit unfair, and it's a numbers game. This can be hard for us to get out, unfortunately.
I don't know, but Union County has quite a lot. I'm not surprised that they even went to yellow.
Okay,
That's another one I have.
are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I want to thank everyone who has joined in. Yeah, I'm migraine hit, but I'm fine.
Okay.
I want to thank everyone who's participated in the public hearing. I do appreciate you coming out, voicing your concerns. Ms. Dorothy, I do hear your concerns. I do share those concerns as well. However, by the rule of law, I believe this commission has done what we were legally obligated to do. I do wish the Zia Club luck, and I do look forward to the good work you do within our community. Mr. Perea, thank you for your continued service to the city of Tucumcari. Please know that it is not lost. We do recognize and we thank you so much for that. Casey, I did receive an accolade for you and your department a couple weeks ago. A gentleman who is very versed in fire safety here in the community spoke very highly of you and your leadership in your department. I do appreciate that. And I do believe under your leadership, we're going to be getting that department straightened out. As Mark has mentioned with 2nd Street, there are the issues. I do want to thank Mr. Weigel and Mr. Romero for being the ones to really step up and voice those concerns. And Mayor, I do want to thank you for representing us there with that meeting. And I'm sure your presence really made a difference. With that, Mark, thank you for checking on those lights. I'm sure Mike's going to be very pleased with those. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes, sir. I got one, well, I got 2 things to ask about. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, that's all right.
We got people complaining about the old Tucumcari Inn. Is there a way we could pick up all that junk that people are throwing out there?
It's tricky with the Tucumcari Inn. The Payless Inn on the west side of town. Yes, we could. We'd set a bad precedent. And the other concern is there was previously a lawsuit between that property owner and the city. So I would much rather stay clear of that. I have brought this up previously. Unfortunately, our code enforcement officer is still out on sick leave. And I have discussed it with the police chief. And we are also shorthanded at times through the police department. So the chief and deputy chief have been picking up shifts and helping with coverage with the officers and running on calls during the day. So it may be difficult, but we could definitely look into it and see what we can do to try to keep
A lot of
that
people are
part under.
complaining, we got a landfill, it's cheap enough to, haul it to the landfill, instead of dumping it out there. Now we got 2 motels that are burned down, the old truck stop, it's collecting too much junk, you know what I mean?
I agree, and that's one of my biggest goals. It's going to be difficult to accomplish, but one of my big priorities with everything going together with this marketing plan, we want to sell Tick and Carry. We want it to be known in a positive image. And ultimately, I don't know the easiest, best answer. It starts with code enforcement, but trying to clean up that west side of town is a huge priority of mine.
And then another thing about the potholes, I know you can't do nothing now with no machine. Is there a way we can get coal mix from Versatile somehow?
We can. So after we had talked the other day, I reached out to our street superintendent and he talked to Versatile, and at the time they didn't have coal mix. So I asked to use millings, and as soon as that happened, it got cold and it started snowing, so we didn't do that. But we talked just as recently as this afternoon, and he was able to get some cold mix. So the plan is to use a burner and heat that up so it works a little bit better. Maybe throw down some tack oil, clean it out, clean up the hole, and make sure it's dry. And I know there's a few places we have on the requests that I've received personally that we're going to start with. And again, it's a short-term Band-Aid fix. It's not going to be the best in the long run as far as longevity, especially when we have rain or moisture. But it will be better than it is now. So yes, sir, we are going to start. Hopefully, if the weather is nice enough next week, start filling potholes with some cold mix.
Yeah, and they said they did buy machines like leaf blower, blow out the holes, brooms.
I know we had, I think they do have some leaf blowers, but we also had on the pothole machine, I think it was attached an air compressor to help blow everything out. But yes, sir, they do plan on, weather permitting, on starting on potholes as best they can next week until we could get the parts ordered to fix the current pothole machine. They have to break it down to see exactly what's damaged this time. Unfortunately, we only have a couple of mechanics, and we had some other things that took priority. We had some issues with our loader, so they were able to fix that in-house, which was great. We're doing the best we can with the budget we have and the personnel we have, and we're doing a great job.
Okay, did you check on the millions that I asked you about?
I have. I've been in contact with Mr. Lopez. I know Second Street's been taking a lot of time, and he's spread thin with his expertise. He's doing the airport, he's doing Second Street, he's involved in a lot. But we have discussed that, and we hope to be able to get some milling soon.
I just want to thank the listeners and the supporters, Mr. Pacheco and whoever called in. I hope the Zia Club has a good year and get it going, and hopefully get more businesses in our town.
Okay,
Should be it, Ms. Mayor.
are you good?
Yes.
All right. First of all, I'd like to thank Casey Mackey, our fire chief, for stepping in and picking up the slack, and we appreciate your hard work and what you're doing right now. Also, welcome to Nikki Murray at the Chamber of Commerce. I look forward to working with her. And as usual, Connie works hard. Connie Levin works hard down at the Main Street. Yes, it was nice to see Larry Smith get the Heritage Award. It will be in the next Route 66 magazine, and so it's really nice. I mean, it's a really nice award to get, and they filmed him. I've seen several pictures of it. I know our Commissioner Arias isn't feeling well, so I'll try to hurry up. Thank you, Edward Perea, for volunteering again to be on the Macmillan Fund board. That's a very important board. And thank you, Mark, for following up on the coal mix, Commissioner Vanaway, but I had talked about it one day, and I did want you to know I did talk to him about it. So anyway, so thank you for that. I did get my vaccine, and I don't even have a sore arm. And so I hope everybody will consider getting vaccinated so we can get this COVID under control and open up again. It's hard on our small businesses, I realize that. Everybody stay safe, wear your mask, self-distance. Don't watch the news, it's too depressing. So it just makes hard feelings anyway. So I would now entertain a motion to adjourn, and I told you, Angelica, yesterday it'd be 9 o'clock when we got out of here. You're right.
Actually, short
Pardon?
10 minutes.
So moved.
Ain't out of here yet.
Do I have a second? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Commissioner Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanderla?
Yes.
Hey, Duplantis, are you in your jammies?
No, he's got a nice shirt on.
Yeah, yeah. Are you in your jammies?
Yeah, I'm just, no.
Yeah, that is a